Saturn's entering into Sagittarius. It will enter December 24th, and it's going to be leaving Scorpio. Now, it will be transforming Sagittarius. Everyone who's a Sagittarius sign, you will definitely be greatly affected. Saturn, though, will not be in Sagittarius for the whole 2015 year because it becomes retrograde and it goes back into Scorpio for a few months, finishing what it needs to do with them, but then, of course, returns back into Sagittarius in about August of 2015. Now, the Hindus have a book called Wonders of Saturn. It teaches us how to befriend Saturn, since Saturn is a disciplined, strong teacher. Okay, that's your teacher. They're here to teach you and discipline you. Saturn is one big ball of negative energy because even in the Hebrew mythology, babies were circumcised and their extra skin was sacrificed or given to Saturn himself to appease him. Getting rid of the negative energy, basically between Saturn and Earth. Now, Saturn is a planet that brings things to a halt for us, okay? And that's what's going to happen. It makes us and forces us to make decisions that maybe we otherwise would not have taken or have made. It makes us make decisions we would otherwise not take, in other words. It forces us to see reality. Life becomes very fragile during these next 2.5 years. That is why we suffer with Saturn. It teaches us life lessons with suffering. If we learn from Saturn, then we don't basically, we either learn from Saturn or we learn from Saturn. It's as simple as that because Saturn is here to teach us a lesson. So we're going to learn either the good way or the bad way. Okay, so what I recommend is just learn to accept his teachings. Now, one can be very happy with Saturn in their house. All changes are good, even though we may suffer while we're going through them. It is molding us, or Saturn is molding us in the end into a better and stronger person. It's basically Saturn is setting us up for a new destiny. It gives us solitude. Saturn might give us some illnesses to show us we're headed in the wrong direction. So whenever things are going your way, you find yourself lonely, alone, or possibly an illness is hitting you, your life is changing, and you feel you've lost control. It's him telling you that you're heading towards the wrong direction. All the Gemini and Sagittarius, basically all the Gemini, I do have to warn you, be prepared because Saturn will fall in your 7th house, which is the house of the spouse. And I will talk a little bit about each of the signs and explain a little bit more about how that's going to affect Gemini. Also, other signs affected are Virgo and Pisces because Virgo and Pisces lie in a cross with Sagittarius and Gemini. If you can control Saturn, you can control your emotions and yourself. Saturn is the inner perception, it's reality. Everything we want to do, Saturn brings to light. We must learn and let Saturn do its thing. Now let's talk about how Saturn will affect each of the signs for 2015. Aries, Saturn is in your 9th house for this year. It will make you more realistic in everything. Okay, you're going to become realistic in everything that you do. You will also find more concrete results. It will give you stability if you know how to handle it. Also, Aries, it will make you refocus your ambitions and your goals. It's a great time to make your dreams come true, Aries. And it also will help you grow spiritually. Aries, you are the sign that's most connected to God or the universe, or however you may call it, because you are the first sign. So therefore, you are the sign that's most connected. So you will definitely be growing spiritually. Taurus, Saturn is in your 8th house. In other words, Taurus, it will make, basically, Saturn will take away your sex life. I'm sorry to say, there's no easy way to say it, but Taurus, Saturn will be taking away your sex life. So you can manage better your chakras. That is your goal that he's trying to teach you, or your lesson that Saturn is trying to teach you this year. So by taking away your sex life, you're going to reroute your energy into your chakras and learn how to manage them better. Now, the way that Saturn does this and taking away sex is either by giving you an illness, so you can't have it, or simply you're just not going to have a partner to have sex with, or just simply just not going to be in the mood. It is also the house of transformation, so you will face your past. You will become a new person. this year. You will need to be patient or you will suffer, Taurus. That is my biggest advice for you. Lots and lots of deep breaths and patience. Now you will have new experiences, and this will help you also initiate new projects. Gemini, you have a heavy, heavy tenseful transit. Your transit is extremely challenging because you are opposed, out of all the signs, you, Gemini, are opposed to Sagittarius. Now, you have Saturn in your 7th house, as I mentioned earlier, which is the house of marriage, relationships. So there's going to be lots of ruptures with not just possibly your spouse, but with fellow colleagues or partners in business. Saturn is going to clean out what you don't need. If Saturn feels that your spouse is not going to get you where you need to get to with your destiny, or if Saturn feels that your colleagues or partners in your work aren't going to get you to where you need to go to fulfill your destiny, it's going to rupture it this year and it's going to get rid of them. So there will be a break there. You are treading on very dangerous, fine waters. Divorce is almost certain, especially if you don't know how to manage it. Also, it might actually bring you an affair, and Saturn might put you on trial. So it might give you a lot of temptation. So if that's something you don't want to finish with your significant other right now, I suggest you basically don't even get tempted. Now my Cancers. Cancer, your Saturn falls in your 6th house, giving you a positive outlook. Saturn will support you in your work life this year. Saturn's going to teach you efficiency, which is a lesson you must learn. That is your goal, Cancer, this year, that Saturn will teach you is efficiency. It's going to teach you how to stay focused, and it's also going to help you with your health. It is a crucial time, Cancers, for you to break away from any routines and cut umbilical cords. You are going to have to let go. You're going to have to change your routine life in order for you to succeed, especially in your work life. You have a lot of support there from Saturn, but you're going to have to trust yourself and try it and basically just go for it. Now, for those of you who are a little sick already or have some health issues, I would definitely advise you to go to the doctor because Saturn may be triggering that a little bit and it might need some attention. Now, especially things that have to do with knees, your kidneys, or your stomach, I would definitely seek out medical help. Leo, Saturn is in your 5th house. This is going to bring you balance between your emotions and your rationale. This is the house of love and your children. You will learn from past experiences. That's going to give you emotional wisdom. You will therefore be able to face any conflicts you've had. Your intimate relationships will be very positive, and you will finally gain control of your life. Virgo. Saturn falls on your 4th house, so anything having to do with your home life, you're going to be very frustrated. My advice to you, my Virgos, is to be patient and understand that routines or daily routines in your home life are not the best thing for you. And I really need you to understand this, Virgo, because Virgos, you are creatures of habit and structure. Everything has to fall in its place. There's an hour for everything, or there's an hour designed to do a particular task throughout the day. You're very structured. But guess what? Saturn's going to break that to you this year, and you're not going to like it. So if you want to make the transition easy, you're just going to have to take your hair down, loosen up a little bit, and just go with the flow. This is what Saturn wants to change for you. Saturn is the law, Virgo. It's as simple as that. So it's your word against his, and guess who's going to win? So unless you don't want Saturn to attack your family, I suggest you relax a bit so Saturn won't squeeze it out of you. Libra. Libra, Saturn falls in your 3rd house, favoring your everyday life. It will change the way you hear others and the way that you listen to others. And you must listen to what others have to say. Try to avoid problems that are closer to you. Try not to get into situations if some loved ones are having a little tiff. Don't meddle, stay away, do not get involved. Since you can actually help make that and end that in a rupture, either between those two people, you can actually make it worse, or actually between you and them. So you're going to definitely be tried this year. It's a great time for you, though, however, to possibly start and study a new profession or career. Scorpio. Scorpio, now obviously Saturn is in your second house now. You have hopefully learned from Saturn's teachings these last 2.5 years, and you will finally feel relief. You should evaluate yourself. Now this is a great time to really take a deep breath, let everything that happened the last couple of years sink in, analyze it, and see where you really want to go from here. Saturn in your second house will bring you money, but you will need to learn how to handle it. Use your knowledge that you've learned from Saturn to be wiser with your money. Don't waste it, because otherwise Saturn can come back and put you to trial again, and I'm sure you don't want that. Sagittarius. Saturn is in your first house, and it will make you change and bring you karma, Sagittarius. Obviously, we know this. You're going to be the most affected. You must live out your destiny now. Sagittarius, you will be tried by Saturn, and I can't tell you how much you're going to be tried by Saturn. You can ask the Scorpio who just experienced it. It will push you to the limit. It's going to pressure you. It's going to squeeze you. It basically is going to take everything out of you. Why? Because it's transforming you. It's getting rid of things you don't need and making you to the person that you need to be. Your life will feel like it's slowed. You're in slow motion. You will basically be asking yourself, what's happening? What's going on? Why are things stuck? Okay? This is Saturn. Now learn to be more responsible. Take responsibility of your actions. You basically right now in the next couple of years, you're like the carbon, and it's going to be changing into a diamond. And Saturn is the pressure that you put on carbon before it transforms into that bright, brilliant, shiny diamond. That's what Saturn is, the pressure to transform a carbon into a diamond. Sagittarius has to die first before it can transform, which means your old you has to die first before your new you can be reborn. You will need to find a new way, basically, to live and be. It's as simple as that, Sagittarius. And I want you to hear that phrase again. You will need to find a new way to live and be. Because the way that you are now is something that Saturn is going to try to get rid of. You are a sign that has small defects, one of which is being unfaithful. Another defect is that they see, or Sagittarius tends to see their truth as the only truth. Saturn will test you here. Sagittarius tend to become more stubborn, if you can believe me, than Taurus. Once they have their mindset, it's their way. But you're going to have to understand something, Sagittarius. You're going to have to understand how you see and others see the world. You're going to have to respect how others see the world. You will need to have an open mind this year, in the next couple of years, for you to have less suffering. It is a time to gather and save for your future. It is a time to get rid of things you don't need or that bring no value to you, especially taking care of your health and finances. Capricorn. Saturn is in your 12th house, Capricorn. This is a house of karmas. Capricorn, you will need to correct things that you haven't done. Saturn in the 12th house is an extremely difficult transition. It is not a fun transition. It is a very tenseful, frustrating, and difficult transition. So you are going to go through a lot. But it's going to clean your life out, and it's going to help you end cycles that no longer benefit you. Whether you want to end things or not, Saturn doesn't care, because he's going to do it one way or the other. Keeping in mind that this is for your benefit at the end of the day. This is a time of evolution for you, Capricorn. You are basically shedding your old skin because you're about to grow a new one. Aquarius, Saturn is in your 11th house. You will be more compassionate with human beings, Aquarius. It will bring possibly somebody from the past back into your life. For those of you, Aquarius, who are single, Saturn will bring you possibly an old flame who will become your partner. So that's good news for you. Or it might simply, Saturn might bring you someone who brings, your destiny, or somebody that can point you to the right destiny. Saturn will change the people you associate with. Pisces, Saturn falls in your 10th house. Now remember, you also fall in the cross of Sagittarius with Virgo, you Pisces, Sagittarius, and Gemini. That makes the cross. The 10th house, though, is not favored. Saturn in the 10th house is not favored for you. This affects your professional life. It will be a time basically that you need to focus and work on your professional life. You're going to be tested in your professional life. Destiny will bring you a new path. This is what's going to happen to you. Now, I personally love, Saturn in the 10th house. It did a lot. It did do, when it first went around, it did do a lot of changes in my life. Some drastic changes. I had a career change, and it was a career that I never thought I would embark in. But I tell you what, I love this transition. It brought me lots of work, fame, and experience. So as long as you don't fight it and you embrace the change, then you will receive great satisfaction.